ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app on your smart speaker. Presented by Progressive Insurance.
The 2022 U.S. Open Tennis Championships. You never know what awaits on the world's grandest stage. Because here, the greatest city and the greatest fans fuel the greatest performances you'll ever see. Here, you can be more than a witness to the spectacular. You can be a part of it. The U.S. Open Tennis Championships, August 29th through September 11th. Tickets on sale now at usopen.org. The U.S. Open, spectacular awaits.
The NFL on ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio. From breaking news and in-depth analysis.
We have some big breaking news in the NFL.
To the biggest names in the league.
Matthew Stafford, how are you, Matthew?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Plus, daily fantasy and gambling insight.
Ryan Tannehill, his numbers are very close to Mahomes-esque.
If it's happening in the NFL, hear it here. It all starts with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, and continues all day right here on ESPN.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
All right, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Slow sports day. Kev, how are you?
What up, though?
What
Nothing
is
happened?
Nothing
happened? All right, cool.
You know,
Show over.
Show is over. Nothing to talk about today. We are, again, getting closer and closer to the kickoff to the college football season. Ohio State, Notre Dame coming up September 3rd right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio. We got that coming up. The NFL season around the corner, which just became a little bit more interesting. Shouldn't become more interesting, but at least just a little bit more clear in a weird way. We'll talk about that after the Browns news that came down today after waiting and waiting weeks and weeks, months and months, and technically almost years and years, I guess over a year. The Deshaun Watson suspension has been finalized. We'll talk about what that means for the Browns, what it means for the Bengals, the AFC North, and the AFC as a whole. We'll get into that around the corner. We will be joined. We do kick off the high school football season tonight. We have Fairmont and we have Alter, 7 o'clock to kick off right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Excited for that. We'll be on the call coming up later on this evening following the show. But we will be joined by Dave Miller. He's the head coach for the Fairmont Firebirds. He's going to be calling in here about 3:40-ish in that time frame. So we'll be giving him a call and chatting with him here soon to preview tonight's matchup. The Battle of Kettering, Fairmont, and Alter coming up tonight. It's our ESPN Dayton High School Football Game of the Week. You could stream the game, by the way, live at wingam.com or listen live in the old school way, 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the audio as well on YouTube. So lots of different ways to take in the game.
Now football is officially here because preseason don't count. This is real football tonight.
Real football. Wayne's playing at Fairfield, so that's pretty exciting as well. That's a heck of a non-conference game. I mean, look, the talking with Coach Miller the other day, he said, look, the Army-Navy game, he's, it's on a smaller scale, he says, obviously, but this is the vibes he gets for this Alter Fairmont game. That's how big of a rivalry it is. So again, excited to kick off the season coming up later on tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. All right, 6 games was the original suspension for Deshaun Watson. I thought he wouldn't play a game this season. I was adamant he would not play a game this season. I'm shocked that he is going to get to play 6 games this 2022 season. So it came out earlier today, and of course, every time anything is news comes out for Deshaun Watson, people act as shocked as whenever they first heard about the allegations. Look, this is, for all of you out there that like to do the whole stick to sports thing, guess what I'm going to do today? I'm going to stick to sports. Every opinion I have is specifically about football. And if you have a problem with that, then just turn the damn channel. I'm not in the mood today. I'm just being honest with you. I tweeted out something earlier and had someone just reach out and email me and go off about how, by the way, I'm the program director. They emailed the program director email saying that Kinner should be fired. Well, I'm my boss and I'm not firing me. I'm going to fire you, the caller. Go away. That's what I'm going to say. So that's where I'm at with that. This is strictly about football, nothing else, nothing more. Talking about how this impacts the Browns from a football perspective does not mean that you're condoning the actions of Deshaun Watson. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard, and that's dumb even for dumb people. So we're just going to leave it at that. I think we can all agree. Guess what? It's wrong. It's wrong what he did, right? Can we all just agree and move on and I'll just have football conversation? Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, I'm surprised he's playing any games at all this season. I thought for sure it'd be a year. I'm surprised that it's only 11. But I said earlier today, I tweeted out earlier today that I know this sounds strange, but I think that the 11-game suspension hurts the Browns more than a full season suspension. An 11-game suspension puts the Browns in a weird spot where, well, now how aggressive do you want to go? Do you want to be at and going after Jimmy Garoppolo?
Mm-hmm.
You don't go after Jimmy Garoppolo and spend a bunch of money and give up draft capital if you don't, to go get a quarterback for 11 games. But I'm pretty sure that Jimmy Garoppolo, who is not as good a quarterback as Deshaun Watson, well, I think we could all agree on that. But Jimmy Garoppolo for 17 games is much more valuable for the Browns than Deshaun Watson for 6 games. That's where I'm coming from when it comes to the scope of how all of this is playing out. From a football perspective, I think the Browns kind of secretly, quietly, internally, we're like, man, if it's just a full season suspension, we good. Because the 6-game suspension was ideal. The schedule was, very favorable. They could have easily gone 3-3 at the worst, 4-2 at the best, and they would have been in prime position for Deshaun to take over, still have a few games to get his feet wet, and then, sprint to the finish line. Now his first game back, you're playing at Houston, or you're returning to Houston, whatever. And then you got the Bengals right off the bat at Cincinnati, of course. Like, just because, and Browns fans, you got to stop doing this thing that they just got to hover around 500, and when he comes back, they'll be fine. No, that's not actually how it's going to work. If you think Deshaun's the starting quarterback, if you think that just means automatic W the rest of the time that he comes back, that's not the case. He looked rusty in the preseason game. He's going to look just as rusty against, full starters come week 13. And it's just, look, the bottom line is the Browns are most likely going to finish in last place this year unless they decide that Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy that they're going to go in. If you think Jacoby Brissett is going to have this team in position, competing for the division, competing for a wild card spot, when he has to start for 11 games, I'm sorry, that's not happening. If this was a different situation, Kev, if Deshaun's your quarterback and all of a sudden it's announced, man, he just went down with a severe knee injury today. He's going to be gone until at least the doctors project that he'll be back around week 13. All of you would say Browns are screwed. But in this situation, I have Browns fans trying to tell me that Jacoby Brissett is going to lead them to the promised land. I don't get it. At best, they go 4-7 through the first 11 games. And even if they go 4-2 the final 6 games, guess what that puts you at? That puts you at an 8-9 season and last place in the AFC North, because the Steelers are not going to, they're going to be around that same win total, but I think they win 9 games. Like 10 teams will win 10 plus games out of the AFC this year. 3 of those 10 teams that win 10 plus games will miss the postseason because only 7 make it. I'm sorry, that's not happening for the Cleveland Browns. It's a football only discussion. I don't need to have the discussion about how wrong Deshaun Watson is for what he was involved in. I think we've been doing that for well over a year now. Let's just have a football conversation. From a football perspective, Kev, this impacts the Browns how?
A ton, because if it was suspended for a season and that was just it, they could move forward and say, all right, beginning next season, he'll be here through all the training camp and he'll start the week 1 and we'll go forward. Now it's still that cloud hanging over them. It's still that constant chatter. All right, when Deshaun gets back, all we got to do is go blah, 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 blah. And then he can come back and then save the day. So it's still chatter. It's still noise in that locker room. It's still reporters going to be asking the same old questions over and over and over again. From a strictly football perspective, yeah, he's a great quarterback, but you just said it, man. He's been out of football for 2 years and he's going to be rusty in that preseason game. So what you think is going to happen if he's out another 11 weeks? He's still going to be rusty, knocking off the rust. That doesn't mean he can't bounce back and be the quarterback that he once was, but to expect him to hit the ground running is just silly, to be perfectly honest. So from a football perspective, they are in a tough spot because, like you said, do they give up the draft equity? Do they give up a Kareem Hunt to go try to get a Jimmy G, knowing that he's going to be coming back at the back half of the season and everything like that? Or do you just roll out there with Jacoby Brissett and roll the dice and hope things fall in your favor? I would probably do the Jacoby Brissett situation, since I've already given up so much already to get Deshaun Watson. What else do I have to give? My ribs, my other fingers. That's just cap space, though. It ain't like you just go simply buy him. Like, hey, we're gonna give you.
You can't really cut him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If they cut him, absolutely. If they cut him, for sure. But like a trade, it's kind of like another waiting game. It's kind of another game of chicken.
So the Browns have a 2-year window to really maximize the cap space situation because Deshaun Watson's salary or his cap this year, it's only $1 million against the cap.
Right.
Next year it'll only be $8 million against the cap, and then after that it's into the 40s and 50s after that. So that's why I feel like, to your point, yes, we've already given up a lot, but because you've already given up a lot, that's why you got to go just a little bit further, because you know what? The Browns knew what they were getting themselves into with this situation. The biggest mistake the Browns made was getting aggressive with the moves that they made. Going to get Jadeveon Clowney, going to get trying to, upgrade, getting Amari Cooper. There was no need to do any of that until you knew what you had with Deshaun Watson. Because now you have a bunch of guys who felt like they were well on their way to having a special season. And now it's like, oh man, we got to, I don't know. I think that locker room feels deflated right now. And I think that the only hope is that they do go get Jimmy Garoppolo. And let's be clear, could the 49ers, I don't think that there's a lot of value for Jimmy Garoppolo as far as what the trade market is, but now the Niners could probably get a little more than what they were going to get originally from the Browns because they know the Browns are desperate. Mm-hmm. But the Browns at the same time, if they are patient, can do a waiting game. There's some guy on Facebook, I still have no clue who this guy is, but his name is some guy on Facebook. We were going back and forth about this earlier. He is not wrong about his approach, saying that, hey, you know what, the Cleveland Browns, they just need to sit back and wait. When he's cut, go sign him. But the problem with that is you have to hope that he'll sign with you to where at least this way, yes, you might have to give up a little more to get him, but at least you know that you went out and physically got your quarterback to kind of drive you through this a little bit. So I had another Browns fan say, well, that's dumb because you know what happens if he leads them to a division title where the Browns just going to cut him? You mean that they're going to get him from a team that literally is moving on from him 2 years after he took him to a Super Bowl? Of course, that's how it's going to work. You're married to this quarterback, Deshaun Watson, for the next 5 years. At the end of the day, Cleveland, this isn't done yet. We know with the suspension like this now, but now we need to know, the Browns are saying all the right things. Jacoby's our guy. Yeah, they could say that. They have to say that. He is their guy because he's the only guy that's worth starting that's on the roster right now. But again, we've seen that this team is very active behind the scenes when it comes to quarterbacks. And I think that right now they've come too far. They've made too many decisions. They've spent too much money. They have too much talent on this roster to just say, well, here's hoping we can win 8 to 9 games. And you win 8 to 9 games, you're probably finishing last. That's how tough the AFC North and the AFC as a whole is. I don't think winning 8 or 9 games is even close to being enough to compete for the postseason.
What do you think about them thinking, all right, let's see Jacoby in week 2 of the preseason. Let's see what he's working with. Let's see what we got to work with as opposed to just going for it right now. Let's see what he's doing with this offense in a real setting as opposed to a practice setting.
I know who that is. You're good. The thing is, I don't know what we need to see. I mean, if Browns fans knew, if the Browns front office knew what they saw from Baker was not good enough after 3.5, 4 years, how long has Jacoby been in the league? I promise you, they're not seeing anything from him that is going to be like, oh man, he's going to be, they have the worst quarterback in the AFC North right now. They have the worst, and we don't even know who the Steelers quarterback is. I know it's not Mason Rudolph. I know he can have a good camp all he wants, but it's not Mason Rudolph. Kenny Pickett. I would take Kenny Pickett right now. If the Browns somehow found a way, and I know this is whatever. I'm just saying, if it was the Browns had Kenny Pickett at quarterback, I would feel way better about that scenario than going in with Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, it is what it is. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. That's our reaction, of course, to everything with the Cleveland Browns, how it impacts the Browns. We'll talk about how it impacts the AFC North, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Steelers, and more, and the AFC as a whole on the other side. I know we have Charles on hold. Who else we have on hold? Jerry, Charles, Nick, and Eric. I promise you guys, we're going right to you. Just give us 3 minutes. A 3-minute pause in the action. We'll get to your calls on the other side.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be mainly clear and sunny, a high near 85. Tonight's going to be partly cloudy, a low near 62, and tomorrow's going to be clear and sunny, a high near 86. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Would you like 2 paid shutdowns per year to spend with family? Harvest a new career at KTH. Great full-time pay and benefits. KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris, Ohio is hosting a hiring event August 28th from 1 to 4 p.m. for second shift production associates with starting pay $19.37 per hour with yearly increases. Bring a photo ID and resume and complete the interview process and leave with a gas card for the first 100 applicants. Visit kth.net for more information. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/.
With Progressive could save hundreds.
Well, I disagree. I think drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds.
Come on, man. Wait, I think we're saying the same thing.
Oh, so what do we do now?
Everyone agrees that drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings by new customer surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2020 and May 2021. Potential savings will vary.
This should be 8 by 7.
When it comes to closets, Janina's home organization business runs tip-top tidy.
Is the schedule right? I'm going to need help.
But she needs to reorganize and find a new assistant.
I know, it's your last week, but can you make sure the Hanson pantry's wrapped?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Here's the deal. I've had constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating for years. I've tried a lot of laxatives and fiber supplements, but my symptoms keep coming back.
You could have a chronic condition called irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Talk to a doctor today. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceutical.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, welcome back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, hanging out with you here on, of course, what is today? I guess a Thursday. I wanted to say Friday, mainly because of the fact that, well, we have high school football tonight, and most weeks we will be live every Friday night at 7:00, bringing you our high school football game of the week. But of course, not tonight. Tonight, we're going to be bringing you the Battle of Kettering. So we're pretty jacked about that. It's going to be Fairmont and Alter, 7:00, the kickoff tonight on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. All right, 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So after everything kind of shifted today, the AFC North, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook, the Browns now went from being basically out 3, we're almost pretty much tied as far as having the best odds of winning the division. Now the Browns took a significant hit, and this is what I'm saying, like Jacoby Brissett, for everyone out there trying to say that, well, the Browns will be fine with Jacoby Brissett. They're not going to be fine with Jacoby Brissett. And I'm not saying that if you go get Jimmy Garoppolo that you are winning this division. You're not winning the division with Jimmy Garoppolo. You might be right up there at the top, and it may take all 17 weeks to fully be eliminated from winning the division. But I'll put my money on Burrow over 17 games over Jimmy Garoppolo or Jacoby Brissett. But the gap between Jimmy and Joe Burrow is wide. Joe Burrow is legitimate. Jimmy G is just a winner, though. Like, you know what? He has those intangibles. Jacoby Brissett's a good backup, but he's not a starting quarterback, at least at this level or at this stage. I just don't feel comfortable with it. The Browns are plus 370 to win the division. The Ravens plus 145. The Bengals plus 170. Your Steelers are plus 950.
Ooh, that's an expensive bet, but if you win it, cashing out.
I need to figure out how I would win to have the Steelers finish in second to the division, because it's the Bengals or Ravens at this point to win the AFC North, and my money's kind of leaning towards Cincinnati at this point. But we'll see what ends up happening. I can't wait. This season is going to be exciting, and now I feel like we could focus a little bit more towards the football side now that we know the suspension's in. That's why I threw out that disclaimer earlier. Enough with Desean is wrong. How could you support a team? Can we stop? We know you're having a debate that doesn't exist. If you're trying to convince me that Desean is a weirdo, I don't know what you're trying to convince me of, because I'm going to say, yeah, I know. But like that, like, I'm talking football. For y'all stick to sports, people. How about y'all stick to sports and let's talk some freaking football, shall we? Like, I don't get people at all. I was amazed at the emails I got today over a tweet. And it wasn't even one of my dandy tweets either. It wasn't even one of my good ones. It was just a simple football tweet that said from a football perspective. And that's what got people fired up here today on a Thursday. So is what it is. All right. 518-1410. The Browns without Deshaun Watson for the first 11 games. The original suspension was for 6 games. Of course, the NFL appealed it, but an agreement, they were able to kind of reach an agreement on this 11-game suspension, a $5 million fine, and we will not see Deshaun Watson until his return game against the Houston Texans in Week 13. Now, what's ironic about this is Baker Mayfield's very first game of the season in his new jersey is going to be against his former team, the Browns.
Mhm.
You have Russell Wilson. His first game in his new jersey is also going to be against his former team, the Seahawks. And now it works out that Desean's going to, his first game in a Browns uniform will be against his former team in the Houston Texans. So, look, I don't know. There are all these conspiracy theorists out there.
Hit the music.
I'm just saying this is kind of strange, but it does set up, interestingly enough, the Desean Watson comes back. It's at Houston, at Cincinnati, Baltimore. I'm not the Houston game, whatever. That's more of a storyline type thing, but I mean, you get thrown right out into the fire. You have the Bengals and Ravens. It's interesting because after the first 6 games, it would have been the Ravens and Bengals his first 2 games. So 2 of the first 3 still technically will be those return games against the Bengals and Ravens. Then the Saints, the Commanders, and the Steelers to close out the final 3. As I said, look, the Browns can go 3 and they can go whatever 4-7 the first 11 games of the season, 4-7. Oh man, he comes back. They go 4-2. You realize that puts them at 8 wins. Like, that's not going to get it done in the AFC North. Like, this season's almost a wash if Jacoby Brissett, in my opinion, is the quarterback for the first 11 games. We'll see what ends up happening there.
And people got to remember, man, like, yes, as good as Desean Watson is, like, he has lost a lot of games with the Texans as well. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't like people just show up and go undefeated in the NFL all the time. This ain't college football where the talent just simply overwhelms everybody. This is the NFL where there's talent on every roster. And what's this phrase? Any given Sunday, like that happens. So, I mean, you come back, let's just say he does come back. I mean, at best, I would say, you said he's playing the last 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at best, it'd be like 4-2.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like, oh, they're going to lose to them. They're going to beat them. They're going to lose them. Like, this is just common sense.
You're not going under.
They might even go. Yeah. They might even be 4-2 if he played the entire season down that back half stretch, because it's the NFL. Other teams come to play too.
So, yeah, and with that, so to the Facebook feed we go. Justin Smith says, everything the Browns turned to, well, the number 2 emoji. They weren't making the playoffs with Watson. He is just a sober Jamarcus Russell.
Come on, man.
Speaking of sober, I mean, I suggest you try it with that kind of crazy post right there. I'm just saying, like, come on now. Like, yeah, you don't have to be a fan of Desean. I get it. Like, a lot of stuff going to be spewed his way, and he deserves all that. I mean, like, it is what it is. Adam Selzner on Facebook says, it was a wash for the Browns. It was a wash for the Browns season unless they got an actual replacement for Watson and upgraded the wide receiver room. Look, I thought they were in good shape if it was just the 6-game suspension. This 11-game suspension totally throws it up in the air. I do believe that if the NFL would have announced today that it was a full 17-game, full 2022 regular season suspension, season suspension, I believe that the Browns would have showed urgency and even traded for Jimmy G. I think right now 11 games puts him in that weird predicament where, all right, we're going to get Desean Watson back at some point. Maybe we just rolled the dice. Well, that's the problem. You're rolling the dice. There's the fans deserve this team trying to do everything they can to put a winning team out on that field after everything the organization put the fans through. And the guys on that roster, I mean, certain guys specifically came to Cleveland to play with Desean Watson. Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. Boo-hoo. You knew. You read the news. You have the same Twitter machine that we all do. Mm-hmm. You know what's happening. You're dumb. If you signed with the Browns in 22 because you wanted to play with Desean Watson, that's pretty stupid on your part because you're lucky you're playing with him even for 6 games. Like, the Browns are lucky to even have him for 6 games this year, to be quite honest with you. But as I opened up the show with, I do believe that the Browns would have been in a better position had he been suspended for the whole season, because 17 games with Jimmy Garoppolo as your starting quarterback is significantly better than 6 games with Desean Watson, at least as far as your goal of making the playoffs. 518-1410. Jerry, kick us off. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you today?
Good. How are you? Or not how are you? I already asked that, but what you got for us?
I tend to agree with your take a little bit. If it had been a whole year, I think they do go get Jimmy G. Mm-hmm. I think for 11 games, Justin, I mean, your first 6 games are, let's be honest, they're soft like Charmin, man. I mean, you've got the Jets thrown in there. You got the Panthers thrown in there. I think Atlanta's in that group. Is that right?
Panthers are better, not because they have Baker, but Panthers are better than, I mean, they're better than people give them credit for, mainly because it's week 1. McCaffrey will be injured by week 3 like he always is, and all the weapons will be gone. But,
But I think. Look, I do think Jimmy G's a better quarterback than Jacoby. I just don't know how much better. I mean, look, I know he got his team to the playoffs a couple times, but those were really good San Francisco teams, and they were playing in a pretty weak NFC. I think you guys could win potentially 5 of your first 6 games, even with the Jacoby as quarterback. I really do.
You're talking about Jimmy G doing that against the 49ers, against the Rams and against the Cardinals, 2 really good defenses. Like, they played in a really good division. You said the NFC is weak, but they played in the strongest division within the NFC.
Yeah, but they didn't have I don't think he had a great divisional record, and plus he's got an injury history too. Now, look, if San Francisco cuts him, that's a whole different ballgame. But like Kev Nash said, you guys gave up a lot to get Watson. I don't know how much more you can afford to give up going forward.
So missing the playoffs is a second-round pick. Is that valuable to you, that missing the playoffs is more acceptable?
Will they just take a second-round pick? I don't know that. I mean, I guess it depends on what San Francisco wants to hold out for. And besides, I think Jimmy G might get you another win, maybe, over what Jacoby can get you. I mean, look, you're not beating the Bills with Jimmy G. You're not beating Tampa with Jimmy G. You're probably not beating the Bengals or the Ravens or maybe not even the Steelers with Jimmy G. I mean, let's be honest.
Dang, you got them going 0-17.
I wouldn't know. But I wouldn't give – I don't know. If it's me, I almost say ride with Jacoby and see what you got. You know, maybe this is a lost year. You had to kind of plan on this being a lost year if you're the Cleveland ownership because you signed Watson. You knew he was going to be out.
I mean, and Jerry, and thanks for the call. I want to agree with you that they could have chalked this up as a throwaway season knowing that he would be gone, but they didn't spend like it. And from the standpoint of, I know they have a lot of cap space, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that they were able to rework the salaries, of course, for a couple of these guys. But they spent money this offseason and they went after Amari Cooper. They don't if this was a throwaway year, you don't go trade for an aging Amari Cooper in 2022 that you could have made a move for a wide receiver in 2023. I think the mixed signal, this is why I agree with Kev. I don't think this was an Andrew Berry decision to go after Deshaun Watson. Andrew Berry has made all the other roster decisions. Well, ownership made the Deshaun Watson decision, and they never seem to be on the same page. If you heard that was a PR disaster.
It was a total PR disaster.
No one was on the same page.
Jimmy Haslam speaking, Deshaun Watson, his quotes, whoa, buddy, just rings hollow. Like, we talked about his apology, and then he says, I only apologize because this, that, and the third. And it's like, well,
that might have been the first time he's told the truth in a while. Because I'm not defending him here, but he was in a situation where he had to tell people what they wanted to hear so that they can hurry up and move this along. He believes he's done nothing wrong.
So that goes to the type of mindset that you have. You don't believe anything anybody ever says.
No, not in this.
So now when he says that type of stuff, this gives people like yourself ammunition. Like, well, he just said it because, and then he admitted it. So I just think, I think he was just dying to talk, and he finally had a chance to speak, and he just let it out. But man, like you said, it was just a total disaster, man. Total disaster. Everybody up there speaking so freely, without having a set plan. Yikes.
Dalton Cooper on Facebook says, Cooper is only 28 years old, by the way. He's still got good 4 years at the least. Look, he didn't have his best year last year. Like I said, he's a true one wide receiver for the Browns, but if it wasn't for the Ravens joke of a wide receiver core, he would be the worst number 1 wide receiver in the AFC North at that point. I'm not a big Amari Cooper guy. I do think but there could be worse number 1 wide receivers to have. I'm not against it, but you got to understand, 28, you're throwing away his 28th year in a throwaway year because you don't have Deshaun Watson. So you come back next year, 29, for a guy that's already showed like he took a step back last year with the Dallas Cowboys after having a couple of years. Look, 30 is not young in the NFL, especially at wide receiver. When you see these guys like Jamar Chase and you see these just speed guys come in and they're popping off the field at you. Look, I'm not saying he's old, but he's not he's closer to the back end of being that true number 1 than what we see at the front end.
For sure. I'm a person that believes that the Browns need more help at wide receiver than they need help at quarterback. I
want to go get a wide receiver if Jacoby's throwing to him. I need to let you finish your point before I cut it off. I told you I'm on one today.
I see you even at me. There's nobody out there besides Cooper. I mean, I know Njoku's supposed to be like, he got the big contract this offseason and everything like that, but like, who's the number 2? I mean, we haven't heard any reports about our guy from Michigan. What's his name? Peoples-Jones. We haven't heard anything good. Definitely not anything good from Schwartz. Not anything good about Bell. He's hurt. I mean, so whoever's going to be getting thrown the ball, it's got to be Cooper, right? So I think they need another wide receiver before they would go out there and get Jimmy G if I was the Browns.
On to the next one, 518-1410. You want to jump in on this conversation about the Browns, what they should do as far as, are you aggressive and you go after Jimmy Garoppolo? And by the way, let me preface this. I'm not saying that Jimmy G would come in and just destroy the AFC North.
You love him.
He gives the Browns the best chance at winning with where they are at right now. Is he Lamar Jackson? No. Is he Joe Burrow? Not even close. But this is a guy that when you could say, oh, you want that. Well, Jimmy G's not why the Niners have won the last couple of years. When Jimmy G, 2 years ago, when Jimmy G was the starting quarterback during the Super Bowl, Jimmy G gets injured, doesn't play. The following season, they don't make the playoffs. He comes back last year with pretty much the same roster as the year before. They beat Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau in the playoffs and are a game away from the Super Bowl. So is it all him? No. But he's the guy that knows how to push all the right buttons to let that go. And guess what? That's what kind of quarterback Cleveland needs. You have Nick Chubb. You have Kareem Hunt. You have a number 1 wide receiver and some good tight ends. He doesn't need to come in and be Joe Burrow. He just needs to come in and not cost the Browns games like what Baker did last year. And Jacoby, I just don't think he has even that. He doesn't come close to Jimmy G, in my opinion. I'm not saying Jimmy G is winning MVP or leading the Browns to an AFC North title. I'm just saying he will win games for the Browns that Jacoby won't. He won games for the Niners. You can't say, is the run game and the defense for the Niners. Then why did they miss the playoffs? Every time he's not on the field, they miss the playoffs and take a step back. So it is what it is. He's not an elite quarterback, but I'll take him. If I can't have an elite quarterback, I'll take him over anybody else, especially Jacoby Brissett. So 518-1410. Charlie, how are you, sir?
The return of Charlie.
The return of Charlie. You can tell football season's here.
Well, I took a new truck route just so I could talk to you guys.
You what?
I took a new truck route so I could talk to you guys.
Attaboy. We appreciate that. So.
Now, you know what? If I was a Browns fan, I would be just exhausted with the Browns stepping in it. And I would not be a fan of them signing Jimmy G. Because I think what the NFL has done, they have totally screwed the Browns this season intentionally, because 6 games, you can get over that. I mean, Jacoby, in that first 4 or 5 games, he could probably win, I don't know, at least 3 of those games. I mean, the Browns are good enough with Nick Chubb. I think that they can win 3 of those games. 11 games, well, that puts the season too far out where you don't want to bring in Jimmy G. Because what if Jimmy G comes in and balls out? And then you put Desean in, and Desean doesn't look that good because he hasn't played in almost 2 years. Now you've caused a problem. So if I'm a Browns fan, I'm like, no, screw it. We're just playing with we're already, and no one's talking about, they're down 2 centers. Who's going to be, Billy Price going to be your center? Like, the receiving room.
If you disrespect me like that again, bringing up Billy Price, I swear I will hang up on you.
Who's your center, Justin?
I know it was a joke. My God, look at you in midseason for my God. They just need to go get Treader back. I have no clue what the hell they're waiting on as far as that goes.
I'm just on behalf of Browns fans. It's just like, man, ever since the OBJ trade, you got to be tired of them stepping it. You guys were on your freaking way. You had so many good. You were building such a great team, and then the Desean thing could work out. He's not old. What is he? 25,
24, 25. Yeah, in that range.
Yeah, he's Joe Burrow's age. Like he's a young guy, and yep, it sucks. This season sucks, but he's signed for a long time. You're still going to have your best players on your team. You're still going to have Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett when you get through all this crap, but. Man, I don't want to. What if it's like you're kind of screwed either way with Jimmy G, because if he comes in and balls out, well, that makes an awkward situation. he could come in and get hurt easily. That happens all the time. That's why the Niners don't want him. I just don't want any part of it if I'm a Browns fan. It's like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy watching the best running back in the NFL, and hopefully we win some games, and we'll see Desean when he gets here. And that's all. That's all I can see. Like best
from your point of
really got screwed.
No, you're right. From your point of talking about fatigue, trust me, that fatigue is there amongst Browns fans. And if that's there for Browns fans, how do you think those players feel? But that's why I think that it's one thing for the fans to feel that way, but the players are thinking in their head, no, we need, they're not going to come out and throw, Brissett under the bus. But at the same time, like, I'm not saying that everyone's like, oh man, it's Jimmy G or bust, but Jimmy G gives them the best shot. It gives them the best shot to bridge that 11-game bridge. And yes, injuries can happen for everybody. I mean, that's not, I don't try to get too caught up in that, but I mean, you make a good point about his injury history. So that's a valid point as well. But look, it's a lot of bad. Bottom line is the Browns, I don't care. Even if they go 4-7 to start and 4-2 in the final 6 games when he comes back, that's an 8-win season. That's last place in the AFC North. So it doesn't really matter at this point. But you are right. Every point you made about the NFL sticking it to the Browns. And by the way, it's not an all poor me, poor Browns thing. I do believe that the 11-game suspension hurts the Browns more than had they suspended him for the year, because they suspend him for the year. They go get Garoppolo, and then they have a more than capable quarterback to compete for the playoffs for the year. So I think that this definitely was kind of a lose-lose for everybody, and that's what the NFL wanted. So we'll see.
Well, and unfortunately, it's the fans that suffer. The ownership knew what they were getting into. The NFL knew, they weren't happy about it. So it's a bummer for Browns fans. I hate to see it for you guys, but you get Desean next year, you'll be all right.
Well, look at you, this new route of yours that has you all nice and everything, and I've it's gonna be a fun year. But Charlie, thank you, man. Good hearing from you. Excited that the NFL season's here, and we're starting to hear from some of our old friends from last football season. So there you go. But it's like I said, who knows where this is going? To be honest, I'm just glad it's over as far as like we now know.
Right.
Because in your head, you're like, well, maybe they only bump it up to 8, and then you can get excited about that. And then 10, even 10 would have been like, okay, 10, that gives you 7 games. You can go 5-2, a 5-win and 7-game stretch can really swing divisions one way or another. I just think 6 games is you go 4-2, and it doesn't really do a whole hell of a lot, especially depending on the start. And this is a team. I mean, like, so Kev, looking at this here, as far as their schedule is concerned, yes, everyone keeps like, well, it starts out light. Yeah, maybe, but even if they're 3-3 through the first 4 games when it's light, I mean, after you got the Ravens starting on October 23rd, then you're at Baltimore, or you have the Patriots. I'm sorry, let me start over. Week 5, you have the Chargers. Then you got the Patriots. Then you got the Ravens. Then you got the Bengals. Then you're at Miami, which is a safer game there. But then you're at Buffalo and Josh Allen. You're at home against Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. And then there's a bye week. So I'm just saying, like, that's a brutal stretch. I don't know if I'm picking the Browns over Tampa. I'm not picking them over Buffalo. Not picking them over, well, maybe Cincinnati when we get closer. We'll just see what the offense looks like. The defense is good enough to compete with Cincinnati, but as of we sit here right now, I'm not confident Jacoby Brissett. That's a Cincinnati win. The Ravens win. I think they have a chance to beat the Patriots. I think the Chargers win. I mean, that's 5 losses right off the bat right there when you're talking about a team that has to win 10 games just to compete, and you're already at best 12-5 if you win every other game, and that's not happening either.
Yeah, you got to get to 11. You got to get to 11 to make sure you're in the playoffs. To make sure you got a wild card spot, you got to get to 11. That's a tough road for. That's definitely a tough road for the Browns. Tough road for anybody because it's the NFL. But the season.
Yep.
The season got so many storylines. I mean, with the drama, with Deshaun Watson, we kind of got a ending point. But there's a storyline every single week, and the season hasn't even started. These are the built-in storylines. The built-in storyline week 1 is Baker Mayfield versus the Browns. You got a built-in storyline when Deshaun comes back versus the Texans. It's so many storylines week to week.
To Facebook we go to close out this portion of the show. Matt on YouTube says, if the Browns traded for Jimmy G, Kev, he wouldn't be ready till week 4 at the earliest. Is really trading for a guy who is only going to play 6 games? That's the biggest question. I don't think it'll take him to week 4, but let's say that is the case.
One more time. Read that one more time.
He said, if the Browns traded for Jimmy G, he wouldn't even be ready until week 4 at the
Why?
earliest. Is really trading for a guy who would only play 6 games for you. Is that worth it? That's the big question. I don't think it would take him that long to get acclimated. And on top of that, let's say that is the worst case scenario. The first 4 games are the easiest games of the season that I would trust Jacoby Brissett to drive the bus for a little bit to give him time. But
why would it take him that long to get acclimated?
I don't think it would.
I mean, Josh Johnson has been picked up by basically every team in the NFL and like on a Wednesday, and they throw him out there as a starting quarterback on a Sunday. Jimmy G's been in this league for quite a long time. If the Browns were to trade for him, he'll be ready. I mean, it ain't like he just been sitting there eating bonbons. He's been working out. He's fine. If the Browns trade for him today, he'll be their starter by week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but they're not going to. I don't think they're going to. The more and more I talk, even though I think they should trade for him to show that urgency, they're not going to trade for him. Some guy on Facebook, who, by the way, said he agrees with you, Kev. The wide receiver room is shallow and unproven outside of Cooper. It's not a good situation, but they're not going to go trade for him, I think. But if he gets cut, Cleveland will pursue him hard. They have $47 million cap space. I don't think they're going to give him the $25 million that he was making, that he's supposed to make with San Francisco from that perspective. So it is what it is. But at the same time, you risk, just because he's cut doesn't mean that he's guaranteed to be a Cleveland Brown. He would have to pick you. But again, what's his options? The Jets? The best. It has younger weapons, but I don't trust
younger weapons, and they run the exact same offense that San Francisco runs.
But you go to Cleveland and win.
Right.
That's the difference. But that would speed up the progression or whatever. And then I don't know why Miami keeps getting mentioned. I mean, people,
because the
really
OC, their OC from San Francisco is now their head coach.
And then what was the other team? I can't remember.
Seahawks.
The Seahawks. Yeah, maybe if he wants to do that, stick it to the Niners thing or whatever, then more power to you. But Cleveland makes the most sense for him. But you know what? With all the noise, I also wouldn't blame him. I'll take a less talented roster that's quiet compared to what's going on in Cleveland. I don't blame him there either. Clarence Rowley on Facebook says, get Will Fuller to help the receivers group and still get Joey for the season. Desean can be the backup at the end of the year. Desean, you think they went, Clarence, you think they went through all this? You think that they traded for a guy with 24 sexual assault allegations to have him be their backup, even if it is for the final 6 games of the season? I understand, like, the logic is, well, we don't need to rush him out there. Those games will be meaningful. I don't know. I tell you what,
that would be the Browns fans' worst nightmare, or not worst nightmare. It would be a great thing if Jacoby Brissett or whomever, me, you, Mason Rudolph, whoever is undefeated and Deshaun Watson comes back. Those are good problems to have. Those are excellent problems to have.
Some guy, that YouTube comment is wrong. Jimmy G could start a game in 2 weeks tops. Check what he did immediately upon arriving in San Francisco when he was traded there from the Patriots. So there's that.
The Browns trade for Jimmy G, September 2nd. He'll be the starter by September 11th. It is what it is, man. I think people overestimate how difficult it is for these guys to pick up these offenses, man. Like, it's not that difficult for them. For us, because we're not NFL quarterbacks. We're not NFL players. These guys, that third thing, we got it. Let's go.
518-1410. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's official. When it comes to pizza, Marion's Piazza serves the very best. In over 40 local surveys, Marion's has been voted Dayton's best pizza, and Marion's has also been ranked #1 in the nation by Pizza Today magazine. Every award-winning Marion's pizza is generously prepared with your favorite ingredients. So treat your appetite to the finest pizza around. For lunch, for dinner, or just any time, it's Marion's Pizza. Dine in or carry out at any one of Marion's 9 Dayton area locations.
O'Reilly. Stay cool this summer with AC Pro and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get a $15 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select
Yes, much of what, sir?
No, mulch.
Much?
Mulch.
Much?
Mulch. I just bought new trees for our office space's property.
Let me put you in touch with our mulch expert. Hold, please.
Let's face it, big box stores are not experts. Mad River Mulch and Topsoil is the area's leader for mulch, processed topsoil, garden mix, decorative gravel, and animal bedding at I-70 and Route 4 in Springfield and at madrivermulch.com.
You need employees.
Tell me about it.
Actually, tell us about it.
Why?
Because when you tell us about your job openings, we can tell over 300,000 other people.
You can?
Yeah, whether you're looking for a job or a better job, Alpha Media Recruitment can help fill any position with qualified job seekers with a custom plan that combines our broadcast and digital platforms.
You can do that?
It's what we do. Alpha Media Dayton, on air, on site, on demand. Call 937-519-0111. That's 937-519-0111. Or email DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com. That's DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition. If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairmont has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairmont. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Visit Menard's Lighting Showroom to find your style with Patriot Lighting. A ceiling fan is an easy way to update the look of your room and reduce energy costs all year round. We carry a great selection of styles and finishes, so you're sure to find a look that's right for you. Save today with 11% off all Patriot Lighting ceiling fans. Good through August 21st. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, new equipment. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We got high school football tonight. Week 1 kicks off live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Battle of Kettering, 7 o'clock. ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM, and streaming live at wingam.com. For those watching on Facebook and YouTube, there you see it. Alter Fairmont. Fairmont has won 3 of the last 4 against Alter, and Really looking forward to this one. This is always my favorite matchup to kick off the season with, although this is the big game of the week for us that we're carrying. Another big one happening as Wayne is taking on Fairfield tonight, another 7 o'clock kickoff there. So that's another good one here on a Thursday night to kick off the season.
The season is here. The pads are clacking. Matter of fact, when I was coming back from lunch, I heard the band because, as everyone knows, our station is in Kettering and we are super close to the stadium. So when they're warming up, I heard the band earlier today. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. You ready?
I'm absolutely ready. And like I said, for one, I talked with Coach Miller. And by the way, Dave Miller, head coach of Fairmont, he's going to join us 7 minutes from now, top of the 4 o'clock hour. So excited to chat with him. But, chatting with him, setting up this interview the other day, I said, man, I feel like this, as much as we look forward to it, I felt like the season just kind of snuck up on me. I'm like, oh, man, we got a game this week. He goes, I tell you what, not for me. The coaches feel like we just, we can use as much preseason as possible. So I guess it just all depends on who. But I know for me, as far as NFL preseason, I'm over it. But I'm sure you talk to NFL coaches, they're like, no, we need more time. Like, there's never enough time as far as getting guys ready for the upcoming season. But we'll preview the Battle of Kettering coming up here 6 minutes from now with Dave Miller, head coach of the Fairmont Firebirds. Excited about that. Again, tonight, our ESPN Dayton High School football game of the week on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. How about the big media rights deal that the Big Ten finally announced earlier this afternoon? And, I was listening to I love the CBS sports theme song for college. For basketball, it's my all-time favorite, but for the football one especially. But listening to, I said nothing screamed big-time football like the CBS football theme playing while you had highlights of Illinois and Rutgers in the background. But there you go. But Big Cat from Barstool earlier had one of the funniest tweets of the day. He said, we welcome you into a beautiful overcast day in West Lafayette where 5-3 Purdue clashes with 2-6 Rutgers. It's the Big Ten on CBS presented by Home Depot. You get what you pay for, and there you go. Rutgers more valuable than the middle of the SEC, apparently.
Oh, no. See, the spin doctors are out, man. The spin doctors are out, man. They act like CBS ain't never played Vanderbilt versus Tennessee on their primetime game before.
I doubt they've played it on their primetime game. And if they did, it wasn't 5-3, whatever, which means, you know what? They probably were 5-3 or 3-5, which means they weren't there. I don't know. Have you ever turned on the tube at night under the lights to watch Vanderbilt and whoever the hell else you just said?
No.
There you go. See, don't bring those examples to try to.
I'm just saying, the spin doctors are out here, man. They act like everybody in the SEC is 12-1.
Brutal. The Big Ten is so top heavy. The SEC, I'm not saying there's no bottom feeders in the SEC, but the Big Ten is brutal outside of the first 4. And now it sounds like UCLA that there's a lot of fight to keep them in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know all the logistics of why that's happening, but wouldn't you want to fight to keep USC more? I mean, I'm sure the Big Ten's like, well, if we were going to lose one of them, I guess that's the one we can lose.
Be one less team you got to split that $1 billion with. And, we talked about this prior to, and when it was all just rumors, but now that it's actual fact that every school basically will be splitting this $1 billion every single year, getting around like $55,000 or something crazy like that every single season. No troughs at the shoe. And I've been to the big house. At the big house, they have porta potties. They don't have bathrooms. They have porta potties at the big house. So if y'all getting all this money, we need real bathrooms and seat backs. No bleachers like it's a high school football game. Don't cry. We don't have any money. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Get me a real bathroom, please. I'm not.
You got to pay the spoiled ass athletes. Oh, you got to pay me for my services.
No, that's from the collective. That's from the collective. That's not going. This money's going straight to the athletic department. Real bathrooms, people. Real bathrooms. It's disgusting.
How about a winning product out on the field? Is that too much?
We got a winning product at Ohio State.
I get that, but if I'm the Big Ten, I mean, how sad is it that Rutgers is going to get a $1 billion check or whatever the hell it is, $100 million check? Would it kill you to use some of that to cheat, to at least put something respectable on the field? I'll respect the cheater. If I know that Rutgers is winning because they're cheating, good for you. That's what you got to do to keep up with everyone else. All right, let's talk high school.
Let's
talk about the more moral side of sports, right? Let's talk about high school football action. Dave Miller, head coach of the Fairmont Firebirds. He joins us next to preview the Battle of Kettering, our ESPN Dayton High School football game of the week. Dave Miller, head coach of the Firebirds, joins us next.
the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota construction equipment featuring durable Kubota engines, more comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. The Kubota construction lineup shows up ready to work every day. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota construction equipment featuring durable Kubota engines, more comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. The Kubota construction lineup shows up ready to work every day. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
The biannual blowout is just a week away, and we've got a lot of work to do.
Keenan's Rug Emporium is rolling out a Labor Day bonanza.
Have that flatweed shipment coming in.
He needs 10 new sales associates as the crowds loom large.
Someone run a stock check on all the Moroccan 8x10s?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sound experiment. We're looking to find the perfect way to hear Reese's so you'll buy more of them. Here we go. Reese's, 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 Reese's. Hey, get out of here, you little stinker. Reese's.
Reese's.
Reese's. Peanut Butter Cups. That breathy one sounded very creepy, am I right?
People who call QC Kinetics are pretty much fed up with joint pain.
It's to the point where it's affecting their quality of life. Maybe they can't pick up their grandchildren anymore, or golf, or play tennis, or walk with their friends.
Dr. Justin Garzone, Medical Director at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, and no surgery.
The great thing about our therapies, there isn't any downtime. There's no side effects, so patients can get our treatment and continue on with their day-to-day life.
And Dr. Garzone speaks from experience. He had excruciating back pain and got relief at a QC Kinetics clinic.
Over a very short period of time, the pain went away completely, and I've had absolutely no symptoms or pain since my treatment.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
The Alternites, the Fairmont Firebirds. Don't miss our Week 1 ESPN Dayton High School Football Game of the Week this Thursday night at 7 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio and online at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
The 2022 high school football season kicks off tonight, and we're excited to kick off the season on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We kick off the season like we always do with one of the biggest rivalries in the Miami Valley, the Alternites and the Fairmont Firebirds. Tonight, 7 o'clock to kick off. We go live right at 7, right at kickoff. And don't make sure you don't miss any of the action all season long right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Excited for tonight's matchup, and joining us now to help preview tonight's matchup, of course, the head coach of the Fairmont Firebirds. We have Mr. Head Coach Dave Miller. Coach, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Doing great, Justin. Thank you for having me.
I was thinking today, before, knowing you were coming on, we've had you on pretty much every season, every time we have this matchup in particular. And what's interesting is for the first time in a while, this just seems like a normal off season with COVID impacting so many things over the last couple of years. Did this off season feel different to you? Did this off season feel like the first one in a while where, hey, we're just focused on football for a change? How different has this off season felt like in preparing for this season compared to the last couple of years?
Tremendous. Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head. We didn't have to worry about all that stuff. And, I think we did pretty well dealing with it the previous 2 years, but you definitely could tell a difference. So it was nice just to get back to normal.
Coach, your season, we'll put a bow on last season with this question here and then focus on the 2022 campaign. But your season ended in the playoffs, a loss to Perrysburg, but a very successful year last year, of course. And really, just the way you've had this program rolling over the last couple of years. They're playing your football, solid football, of course. With the way the season ended last year and the season as a whole, what were your takeaways from last year, and what are some of the things from last year that have set you up for success this year?
Well, speaking of last season, we had 3 or 4 games that were decided by a single score or 2 in the playoffs. So we're competing, and we talked a lot about that in the off season. Just how do we make that transition? We've done a really good job competing, I think, overall, even with Springfield as a state runner up. We lost to them 17-0. It was 17-0 at half, and we played them pretty tough. We didn't move the ball very well, but we played them pretty tough. So, I think our kids, they believe that they can play with anybody, and we want them to, obviously believe that. It's getting over that hump, and we did a pretty deep dive in some of the data that we looked at last year, and focused on some things that I think we were lacking in, and hopefully that's going to make a difference this year. I think we're all on the same page, hopefully as a staff, and certainly as a staff with the kids too. But so we're pretty excited. We've had a really good off season. Really good senior leadership. We have 21 seniors that have really paid a price, and our summer's been tremendous. So, they have high expectations for themselves and are looking for some great things. So hopefully that'll bode well for us.
Coach, it's a high school football storyline in general that's impacted the state of Ohio, but I'm not sure how much it's impacted the Miami Valley or even your program, but a lot of helmet shortages and supply shortages for high school football. Has that been something that has impacted you guys at all, or have you heard it impacting some programs around here? I know that like a couple schools in Cleveland have been impacted by it. A couple teams have had to cancel games because of it. Is that a situation that's impacted you guys at all?
No, we try to be pretty proactive. We have a great, athletic department, number one, led by Chris Weaver, our AD. And he keeps us in check, and I try to do the same thing. I work with we've worked with Riddell, Steve Arndt, I've known for years. So we're doing a lot of this stuff pretty early on, and he warned us, you want to get this stuff done now because you get to August or July, you may not get them. So we've been pretty fortunate, from that end. But yeah, we're down to, I think, with a few of the sizes, we're down to like 1 or 2. We have some more coming, but it's going to be, a little later. So it's tough. And you were talking about the more normalcy. Everything is pretty normal except for that. That's been still impacted. So you just got to plan ahead. You can't wait till the last minute like you used to be able to, and get away with that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, it fascinated me. Collinwood, the school in Cleveland that had to cancel their week 1 game because of not having enough helmets. That fascinated me. But the second thing that fascinated me was the fact that they talked about they only had 20 guys on the roster. You talked about 19 seniors. What are your numbers like on this roster? Obviously, different divisions. I get that, but what are your numbers right now?
Oh, they're decent. I think we took a hit, in 2020. That was rough. And we've recovered from it. We're sitting at about, we've got 97 really freshmen through senior. And then with the 21 senior, that's kind of usually you're going to have attrition as you go through, but we've maintained our numbers pretty well. And really our middle school programs both have big numbers. So kids are starting to come back out, which you love to see. So No, I think we're in pretty good shape from that standpoint. I feel terrible for those kids up there that, to not be able to play because you don't have equipment. That's awful. But hopefully they can get that figured out and play. But we've been pretty good. Again, luckily we've not had those kind of issues and we've kind of stayed above it. So.
We have Dave Miller with us, the head coach of the Fairmont Firebirds. Firebirds and the Knights, Alter versus Fairmont. Tonight is our ESPN Dayton high school football game of the week. 7 o'clock to kick off. Coach, we just talked about, the preparation for this upcoming season. Finally, what felt like a normal off season. Well, the off season's officially over. For us, I always say, man, football kind of sneaks up on you a little bit, but I'm pretty sure you as a coach, when your preseason starts, you feel like it's never going to end. Now that you've gotten through the preseason, you guys kick off the season tonight. How do you feel about where you're at heading into this matchup tonight with Alter, a team that you've won 3 of the last 4 matchups? Always a fun matchup to kick off the season, but how do you feel about where your team is right now heading into week 1?
I feel good. Like I said, we've had a really good off season and our summer was good too. We had one less scrimmage. We couldn't get a second scrimmage, so we've only had one. We did some stuff with Cincinnati Withrow in the summer, which I think was really beneficial, but and I disagree. That thing, it goes too fast. I'm sitting here going, okay, we're game time tonight. And, I remember when it was 240 days and those things, seem to go pretty rapid. So, but I feel like we're in a pretty good place, and again, I think the senior leadership kind of leaning on those guys, they're a good class and have high expectations for themselves, but, it's exciting. This rivalry is awesome. I was talking the other day at the Optimist Club with Coach Dom Seitz, and I'd gone to an Army-Navy football game, and I think that that's unbelievable if you can ever go to one of those. I was lucky to do that, but I think on a high school level, it feels a lot like that. On a smaller scale, obviously, but the community, our coaching staffs have tremendous respect for each other. Our kids know each other, so. We don't like each other tonight, but after it's all over with, we're going to root for each other, the other 9+ games. So it's a really healthy rivalry in the way high school sports are supposed to be.
Tell us a little bit about some of the players to keep an ear out for on radio, but keep an eye out for tonight when they're at the game. Obviously we talk every year. I always ask you about, your offensive approach and, you get these guys to buy in and they execute it perfectly out on the field. Tell us about a couple names, your quarterback. Your run game has always just been fantastic, but what are some names to keep an ear and an eye out for on the offensive side and defensive side?
Well, there's quite a few, and I'm gonna miss them. I always feel bad when I'm put on the spot with this because there's so many to name. But beginning with the quarterback position, we obviously graduated. Malik Hillen last year was a 3-year starter, so that was a big hole. But we've had 2 guys, Dylan Krieger, a senior, and Brock Baker as a sophomore, that are competing for that job. And I'll be honest, it's probably going to be a game time decision, and I'm not sure where we're going to go with that. But both guys are capable. It's not like there's deficiencies there. I think that they're both equally able to run our offense, and they've done that all summer. So that's really good. Obviously we have Drew Baker back at fullback. A lot of guys up front. Enoch Cruz, Caden Partnick, Cooper Davis, Noah Wilkins. As a tight end. And a lot of other guys that rotated in there. So that's really huge to be able to have that, the experience coming back up front. And then a couple halfbacks that we graduated a couple there, AJ Mullen and Will Porter, but they've been replaced by Asa Dunleavy and Soso Poe and Owen Olsen are kind of battling there for the other spot. But all 3 of those guys have done a great job. And then we have C.J. Myers, who is kind of the utility guy like Will was last year. He's playing some wide out, playing some halfback, playing some fullback. So we have him kind of all over the place. But that's pretty much our offense. Defensively, we return Dalton Gusweiler up front, along with Owen Russell. And Owen's probably going to go back and forth from defensive end to linebacker. So we're not real sure where he'll be tonight. But we have in our secondary, Cameron Payne as a junior is returning as a starting corner. Grayson Holbrook as a starting safety. And then Dawson Cahill came in late when Zach Hutchison got hurt. and filled in at free safety, so he has experience back there. Linebackers, we have really kind of one of the guys that worked extremely hard this offseason. Was one of our lifting award winners at our lift-a-thon. Tyler Atkins is coming back at probably our starting linebacker, middle linebacker. If he doesn't play there, he's going to be one of the other inside guys. But then we have Aiden Penix, who rotated in quite a bit. Holden Barlow, who played offense primarily last year, but switched over to defense. And I'm sure I'm missing a bunch, but there's a lot. There's a lot to be excited about. The potential is there, and the kicking game. I mean, I'd have to be remiss not to mention Will Holton, Max Gearing as a sophomore. Those guys have done a nice job. Both are very capable. So there's a lot of potential there. Now we just have to put it into action.
Excited to watch you guys tonight go head-to-head with Alter. Again, you guys have won 3 the last 4, looking to make it 4 the last 5. A big one tonight to kick off the 2022 season. 2 GWAC schools in action tonight. Alter taking on Fairmont, of course, and then the Wayne Warriors, they're hitting the road to take on Fairfield. So 2 really good GWAC schools in non-conference play tonight. Pretty exciting. Coach, send us out with this. Your view of the GWAC. It's always one of the best conferences in all of the state of Ohio, but it doesn't change this year. I mean, just as tough as it is year in and year out. But your perception of the GWAC heading into this 2022 season is what right now?
Highly competitive. I mean, if it's not the best, it has to be right up at the top, because you look at the success we've had, as a conference. We had Springfield making it to the Final Four the last 3 years, obviously making it to the finals last year. And then Miamisburg knocks them off. That's one of their losses during the season. I mean, that right there alone kind of speaks volumes. Basketball, of course, Centerville and Coach Cups, they won a state championship a year ago, and, runner up this year, and Miamisburg beats them a year ago. So, top to bottom, our conference in all sports really, but definitely in football too. It's a meat grinder, but I wouldn't put it any other way. Our kids love it. If you can't get excited for that and fired up to go play, then something's wrong with you.
All right, good stuff. Dave Miller, head coach of the Fairmont Firebirds, good enough to give us some time here today. Again, the Firebirds and the Knights kick off the 2022 high school football season coming up later on tonight, 7 o'clock to kick off, and you can catch it right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Coach, always love talking to you, and look forward to talking to you soon. Best of luck tonight.
Thanks, Justin.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be mainly clear and sunny, a high near 85. Tonight's going to be partly cloudy, a low near 62, and tomorrow's going to be clear and sunny, a high near 86. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with the tools to do incredible things. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Something you probably do know. Progressive can not only offer you a great price when you bundle home and auto, they offer you round-the-clock protection. Something you probably don't know, the average garage door is made up of 1.3 millimeter aluminum panels. Something you probably do know, your neighbor likes to tinker with his dirt bike. Something you probably don't know, a runaway dirt bike can take out your garage door and a good portion of your car bumper. Bundle your home and auto with Progressive and get more than a great price. Get round-the-clock protection. Something you know for the things you don't know. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you fired on all cylinders.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Today on Hey Culligan, soft water, cleaner environment. What do you say, Greg?
Hey Culligan, are you saying if I have a Culligan high-efficiency water softener, I'm also helping the environment?
It sounds like you're saying it, Greg, and yes, you are, because with the Culligan high-efficiency water softener, you'll use less detergent, soap, and harsh chemicals, and that's good for the planet.
Now you're saying it.
You bet I am, Greg. Soft water and a cleaner environment is already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Visit Cincinnati and see for yourself why the Queen City is the birthplace of professional baseball. Catch a Reds game at Great American Ballpark and be sure to explore the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum presented by Dinsmore. Thanks to the HCS Foundation, kids 12 and younger receive free admission into the Hall of Fame, where the whole family can enjoy interactive exhibits and thousands of artifacts from over 150 years of Reds baseball. For details and tickets, visit Reds.com.
Now is a great time to schedule a back-to-school dental appointment. Dr. Thomas Kelly, president of the Ohio Dental Association, is here to tell us more.
Your child's smile is as important to us at the Ohio Dental Association as it is to you. Here at the Ohio Dental Association, we look forward to partnering with you to help them maintain a healthy smile that will last a lifetime. Low-sugar snacks paired with great brushing and flossing habits can become healthy ways of spending quality time together. Make sure you and your kids see an Ohio Dental Association member dentist twice a year for regular checkups. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care. These dentists, through the ODA, have access to superior ongoing education, training, and resources. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association so you know you're being treated by the best. For more information, visit associationsadvanceohio.com. And most importantly, keep smiling.
Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken is excited to announce their new delicious spicy bourbon chicken sandwich is here. It's the best of both worlds. Their spicy bourbon dippers that you love brought into a sandwich you'll crave. It's made with their famous spicy chicken sandwich, smothered in their special bourbon barbecue sauce, dripping with flavor on a brioche bun. Enjoy it in a combo with your favorite side and a drink, priced just right at only $6.99 and only available at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken Miami Valley locations. Lee's, famous for spicy bourbon chicken.
Rob tried to manage his constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating day after day. After realizing it was irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, he found another way and finally said yes to adding Linzess.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Talk to a doctor today. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
Staples has everything you need for school at prices that won't hold you back. Don't send your kids back to school. Send them forward at Staples, the working and learning store.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion. Trust me, I know about joint pain.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about chronic joint pain and exciting new regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics.
I know what it's like to fight through pain, but now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced all-natural regenerative medicine that can give you lasting relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Do you suffer with constant pain from arthritis or injury? Pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or lower back? Don't assume steroids, pain meds, and surgery are your only options. Regenerative, restorative, natural solutions are now available.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love.
Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and learn how regenerative medicine can repair and restore damaged joint tissue.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-960-3377. That's 800-960-3377.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am Hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
Good stuff from Dave Miller, head coach of the Fairmont Firebirds. Kev, I love getting the chance to talk with coaches, and you can hear how excited he is just to be out there. One thing we talked about is this is the first off season for high school sports in a while that just felt like a normal off season. Not a lot of mask talk or restrictions talk or anything along those lines. It's just right back to being able to cough on the person next to you and not feel bad about it, baby. What football is all about. But no, seriously, there was
sharing mouthpieces and helmets.
I mean, now you go back to the real ringworm and stuff. But yes, tonight we will, of course, have Fairmont and Ultra, our ESPN Dayton High School Football Game of the Week. Head to wingam.com right now and go ahead and check out the schedule. We'll be live at Trotwood next week. Another Fairmont game, Fairmont at Trotwood. But excited for our lineup this year. We got Pick Central at Wayne in week 3. That's going to be a good one. Ultra at Trotwood in week 4. So we get to see quite a few Kettering teams on the schedule coming up. Miamisburg at Wayne in week 5. And then we're at the halfway point.
It's a fast season, man.
Have I brought up Jackson McGowan yet? Have I told you how cool he is?
Not today.
Jackson McGowan's he's a real deal. I'm excited for him. But yeah, that's Miamisburg Wayne is going to be fun.
Oh, big time matchups. Big time matchups. And we got them all right here on 1410 Wing AM. Look, man, this is what I always say. And I say this on Hot 102.9. look, man, we all love football, but the season is so short, especially the high school football season. There's only guaranteed 10 weeks of high school football action. Get out there, support these kids. They've been out here working very hard all summer to play. Go out there, support them. Go out there, support them. Even if you don't have a kid that is in high school or anything like that, go out and support your community. And, go to other places and support them. Travel around town. There's a ton of great talent around town. Support the youth out here, man. High school football is officially back tonight.
So we'll see. I mean, and again, I can't wait when I get out there. By the way, my least favorite part about doing high school football games, walking up the damn stairs.
You getting your exercise in.
No, because I make sure. I mean, I look like, when I come home from the grocery store, I'm not coming back out to the car.
You a one-trip guy?
I'm a one-trip. I'm going to get everything. So there are probably, we bring enough stuff to have probably 2 trips up and down the stairs. I'm like, no, my fat ass is making it up the stairs. I'm not coming back down to get anything else. So I look like the guy trying to carry all the groceries in at one time, making it up the stairs with all your
fingers trembling.
Oh, yeah. My fingers look purple by the time I actually get everything up there, but I'm out of breath. It's embarrassing. Everyone wants to come up and ask how I'm doing and just being nice. By the way, the people at the press box and Kettering, they're great everywhere, but Kettering does a great job. Fairmont does an outstanding job with theirs, but man, I can't talk to anyone for the first 5 minutes because I'm trying to catch my breath. It's ridiculous. Being fat, man. Adam says, Justin, it's 2022 grocery delivery, my guy.
I don't trust it.
Oof, inflation, man. I can't afford it.
Yeah, so got that too.
Yeah, and no good. All right, folks, we'll step away for a few minutes. Get back into that, conversation about the Deshaun Watson thing. Another take came in about this. Dan Flouty, I believe is his name. Jimmy G isn't signing with the Browns. Seahawks, Giants will sign him to a long-term deal. First of all, no one's signing Jimmy G to a long-term deal. And it depends what your definition of long-term is, to be fair. But he said the best option for the Browns would be to trade Brissett and a 6th rounder to the Saints for Andy Dalton. What? No. Keep Andy Dalton as far away from the AFC North as possible. And especially, we all know he doesn't look good in orange. We've seen that disaster before. I don't know why. I mean, first of all, Jimmy G isn't signing with the Browns. If Jimmy G Jimmy G's best shot at getting a long-term contract is probably to go to Cleveland to play with the weapons that they have. You got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and you got an offensive line in Cleveland. You may have young wide receivers with the Jets, but I know that's not one of the teams you said. You may have Metcalf over with the Seahawks, but that offensive line's a disaster. The Giants are a disaster. Cleveland is a houseboat on fire. Houseboats are nice, but it's just always flaming from the top. But the other two are like trailers. They're not. You could soup them all up. Are they nice?
Dumpster fire, but they got a lot of talent.
Oof.
Very intriguing.
518-1410, more of the Justin Kinner Show when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev